and yell, "I heard a gunshot. I heard a round go off. What do I do?" And then an officer just told me, "Go back to your post." And I was like, "Oh yeah, of course." And I was supposed to leave my post. And I ran back to my post and jumped over those 2 rows of concertina wire, 2 rows of barbed wire again. Back to my post. And the next day, people were laughing, saying, "Oh, Hoff fell asleep on guard duty and had a dream that he heard someone fire around." There's probably another guy on guard duty on the opposite end of the area, the perimeter where we were, getting bored. Maybe just messing with me, see what I would do. Ah, well, this is long, but I hope that my sister can help prolong my mom's life as long as possible, and work things out. Talk about the childhood trauma, the generational trauma. My sister will tell you all day long about post-traumatic slave disorder, African American, descendants of slaves, continuing generational trauma. And it's easier to talk about other people's problems than to face your own. We have multi-generational PTSD. It runs in our family. Irish and Cherokee, Viking and Comanche. My aunt says it's not true. My father told me we're part Comanche too, on my father's side. And it's unbelievable. Except I remember how my grandmother on my father's side used to talk to horses like they were children. I mean, for a long time. She would spend 20 minutes talking to a horse. "Oh, you beautiful thing. Oh, you're so lovely. Oh, aren't you precious?" And she made a beeline. Grandpa to the camper, to the stables. And Grandma would just go. Oh, she was so excited to talk to a horse. I see this documentary about how Comanches love horses. I was like, whoa, is it true? I could be part Comanche too. Anyway, we're working this out, you know? Been resentful that I started working with Dr. Cesada of the Multicultural Center of Cal State Long Beach. My sister recommended I do an internship, and I chose him. And we created like an internship program for me. And I feel like later she stole him away from me. And they were working on some kind of project. That's okay, well I could just keep going on, but the thing is, we're working it out, you know. And I hope that authorities, I don't want people prosecuting. At the same time, I heard my cousin's gone after he broke my arm with the help of his girlfriend, distracted me. It was 2 against 1. My mom said, "You can't call the police on your cousin. You can't send your cousin to prison." Maybe if I had, he'd be alive today. Maybe. Sometimes that's what it takes for some people. But I hope that maybe my mom and my sister could talk to one of the Cherokee women. It's always been easier for me to forgive my mom as a man, I think. Where I just always knew that she had a very harsh childhood. She was abused. My, my mama, my grandmother on my mom's side, she was abused. Just generations of abuse. And then all the men go in the military. I brought up war or something, with my mama once, and the way she started counting off all the men in her family that got off the war, from World War One, World War Two, Korea, Vietnam, and then me, Desert Storm. It affected her. So many of us going off the war. Of course, I didn't think I was going to go to war. The Berlin Wall had fallen down, and I was going to join the Army band. I read about how the Army band played a concert in Paris after World War I and introduced jazz to the world. Great musicians coming out of the Army band. Hanging out with Steve Jones and other guys. They warned me, what a lifestyle it was. I didn't want that lifestyle. I didn't think I could stay clean and sober. I joined the Army clean and sober. And then Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, and we had a war. I wasn't supposed to go in the Army. I lied. The recruiter told me to lie. I said, how many times have you tried marijuana? I wrote down 100. He said, take off a 0. Now I know that if you use marijuana at a young age, it makes you more susceptible to mental illness. You need to develop your mind so that you can deal with things better when you're older. So I have symptoms of PTSD that a lot of people that have seen heavy combat in Vietnam respect, because they know the symptoms are real. And I've learned from them. Even from someone who told me that they don't like black people and they wave the Confederate flag. I've had to learn from him. I want to say his name. Johnny Ray moved back to Tennessee. But in that anger management meeting, where it's not really true, he doesn't like black people because he's sitting right there with a black man in the meeting and they're getting along fine. I like to do that to people that say they don't like black people. Get them to talk to someone who's African American and they're talking like best of friends, and say, so what is this? Don't like black people. You like that person? Ugh. I had to learn. I heard him talk about calling a social worker to get custody of his granddaughter. I think it may be because his daughter ran off with a black man. Maybe that's why he had a problem. But I had to learn to stay out of trouble. I had to take these guys like him, help me to take what the VA counselors were telling us seriously and apply it. I learned that his wife had built him a little shack, and every morning he would put all the handouts and document protectors and go over his handouts every morning, learning about what happens with the brain chemistry when we're triggered and we go to a part of the mind, the part of the brain that we share with animals, a fight or flight mode, how to practice thought-stopping techniques. You have to work at it. That same meeting, I said, somebody was talking trash about white people. I said, well, I'm Irish. I'm not white. And it was only the second time since I've been out of the Army that somebody could scare me. I mean, I've gone up to gangster like twice as big as me stopped them from dragging a woman down the street with her heels grinding against the sidewalk. He said, "You can't rape her." Stopped him from raping this woman. All these stupid gangsters started messing with me after that. You don't send the airborne to a Section 8 apartment with a bunch of gangsters around. Not a good mix. I wasn't scared. But when another combat vet threatens me, and I know they have the same little secret thing that I have, where we are capable of defending our country and giving the enemy soldier every opportunity to die for his country. So we don't die for ours. We want the other guy or gal to die for theirs. But we can't talk that way. You know? We can't talk that way. We scare people. And that's why there's a chaplain assistant. The other guys, they don't have some special skills and talents I have. And they didn't have the mother that I have, who helped me find my calling that I almost missed. It's not to be on stage, to have people cheer and adore me. It's to do music for health and healing. I brought a little guitar to the Gulf War. You know, I brought my guitar to mental health days. And but other paratroopers play my guitar. They would love to play that song, "On the Road Again, Up on the Stage." I can see how the song talks about going to different places, traveling around. When you're a paratrooper, you go on different deployments. You leave home. And although it's a different profession, being a rock and roll artist and a paratrooper, they can relate. Anyway, 40 minutes. For my sister. I love you. Because I know where we come from. And I hope you can remember, if not the teachings of Jesus, then the Cherokee proverb, "Hate darkens the soul." No haters. Don't hate the white Republicans. And I've been on the blue, I've been on the red, I've been on the left, I've been on the right. I'm now, like I was military clergy, I'm a special kind of clergy today. Not involved in politics. I'm here to serve the kingdom of God as a poet. The best I can do. Please ask the divine creator to fill your heart with love for our mother and try to forgive her. We can get her own apartment. We can come and visit, and you could have your own house, and I could have my own place, and our mother could spend the last years of her life maybe resolving some things, you know, for the world. You know, we were guided, trained to be world leadership. Our father in Yale University with George Bush and John Kerry, bringing us to the Abraham Lincoln Memorial. We're so proud of him. meeting him in the Capitol. He was taking down Richard Nixon. You know, my mom sacrificed to get me to go to Beverly Hills High School. Adam Walker and I went to youth and government and just ditched and listened to punk rock and smoked weed. Fat Mike, no effects. It was like right down the street. Said he went to Fairfax, but he was like a block away from Beverly. Anyway, they wanted us to be leaders. But you know, it's like, who was that Chinese philosopher that said, the best leaders, when they're done doing a plan or something, they don't get credit. Nobody knows it was them. They just did their part. You know? And maybe somebody else will get the credit. It's not even that important to them. Because they just want to serve the good of the community. And I'll learn that language. We can all come together on what is for the good of the community. And it would be for the good of the community to treat my family like a VIF. VIP, VIF. We're a very important family. Our mother, a descendant of the Royal O'Neill of Ireland. The Kennedy clan of Boston were our rivals. And what's happened? Really, people know the tip of the iceberg. If you go back in history, it's been going on for 1,000 years. From the days of Brian Boru, taking the high kingship of Ireland from our ancestor. You might remember now. Somebody O'Neill, something that's hard to say in Irish. Ancient rivalries that need to stop for us to come to God. And when our mother passes, it will be you. I'm claiming that our mother should be put on the top of the list for claims to any crowns that the Irish Republic of the Nation of Ireland, would care to recognize. Because she's part Cherokee too. And that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Our mother, our grandmother, our great-grandmother, our great-great-grandmother, 100% Cherokee. It was not a good thing. The world didn't see it that way. But now let the world see it as a good thing. And that's what I'll be doing with rock and roll. From the powwow drum beat, from the Native American drum beat, doing music and rock and roll for health and healing, developing a program for first responders to goof off in a band room. I'm thinking one of the songs I'm going to start teaching is Louie Louie. Yeah, a really easy song to play. And one time, I think a DJ in Fayetteville, North Carolina, locked himself in this room and just decided to play that song over and over and over. Louie, Louie, hey, we gotta go. But I think it's a easy song to teach and learn and a lot of fun. So, because our first responders are stressed out. Get them in the band room, get them to play some music. They want to have a beer afterwards. Cool. Not during the band practice. Maybe play for their squad or their family. Maybe at the policeman's ball. You know, rock and roll for health and wellness. And of course, there's going to be drama therapy, like you, my sister, your dream that you told me about when I was on a pass. I got back from the Gulf War and I visited you in New York, and you told me that your lifelong dream was to do drama therapy. And in that anger management group, we're doing it there. When I was going, before they were just becoming too racist. The techniques of Augusto Bilal, people are doing them now. Facilitator says, well, here's a veteran saying, I get back from work and my wife says, why don't you interact with the children? And she just doesn't get it. Just want to be left alone. She just keeps nagging me. I don't mean to yell at her, but she won't leave me alone. I say, well, what could he say? And someone steps in. One vet plays the wife. One vet plays, the vet, or step in. What might you say differently? We learn better communication skills. So yeah, Mom had a premonition that I was going to bring in a lot of money. And the car's super blessed. Super blessed. I was going to get it to do a delivery job. I can't have a job driving. God wants me to do this. And it's going to. I need people to help me bring in money for this program. And yeah, there'll be a spot for you to do drama therapy for people, for health and healing, for a family and the world.